giving you the real talk, no holding back. Can't get any worse, we'll make you see. There's always a silver lining. We'll set you free, so join the movement. Let's change the game with the Can't Get Any Worse podcast.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Can't Get Any Worse podcast. How are we all today? I hope we're all well and just ripping into whatever day you're listening to this. But what we are gathered here today for is our UFC 329 breakdown. And guys, I swear I say this every single breakdown, and I know I harped on about the UFC White House card being the biggest card that I've been the most excited about in the longest time. But this card, oh God, it does something different to my body. And I don't know, I wore this shirt, right? I put the shirt on. I put my Conor McGregor shirt on. As you all know, biggest Conor McGregor dick rider there is. Not realizing that it is like one of those oversized tees, okay? So most of the graphic, I'd say 90% of the graphic, is below the view of the camera. And I'm only just seeing that now. And I've already hit record and it's too late to change anything. So what we are going to do is we're going to push forward and we're just going to rip through this thing together. But to break all these fights down, you guys know what I got to do straight off the bat. I got to crack my delicious can of kamikaze straight off the bat. Fire engine today, getting me through this breakdown. Let's crack that bad boy. Oh, juicy. Oh, juicy. Could that be the new word? I know that is going to irritate Adrian if he listens to this episode. He probably won't because he fucking hates UFC. But anyway, let's take a sip and break into this shit. Oh, yeah, that's good. I've just finished work, slapped the shirt on, got in here and hit record. So this could either be amazing or this could be fucking terrible. But let's get through it. As we always do with these breakdowns, let's get through some news and gossip straight off the bat in the UFC world. Some real housewives of the UFC, as they say. But I guess let's go back and capture some shit that's happened since the UFC White House card. So as we all know by now, I harped on it on the podcast after the UFC White House card. Justin Gaethje beat Ilia Topuria in devastating fashion, okay? Ilia's face... Not only have we never seen Ilia's face look like that in any of his fights, I don't know, like 100% there has been, all right? Don't quote me on this. There's definitely been fighters with fucked up faces and gashes and things like that. But just that, like, that brutality that we saw Justin put him through was insane. But it, I'll be honest, as soon as it all happened and I was in the heat of the moment, I was like, oh, Ilia's a sore loser. He lost and he's not doing his post-fight interview with Rogan and blah, blah, blah. But then to realize on the back end of all that he was like rushed straight to hospital because he was in such a bad way. Absolutely crazy. So Ilia has come out since then. He made like a public post and things like that, thanking his fans for all their support and vowing he will be back. So that was my biggest question with it. Obviously, as an undefeated fighter, what was he, like 19-0 or something, or 18-0? It sort of makes you wonder how they're going to go with that first loss. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure that cut him so deep. Like, that's the last thing you want to do as a fighter. But to see him sort of take a couple of days and then put a post saying that he will be back, it sort of... that's the crazy thing between, like, boxing and UFC, is, like, you want boxing... As soon as someone loses a boxing fight, they sort of lose that like stigma and that glow that they have. In the UFC, you can lose 7 fights in a row and people still want to watch you fight. Tai Tuivasa, for example. So yeah, I am actually somewhat excited to see how Ilia comes back because I think whoever he versus next is in for the longest night of their entire UFC career. So he didn't make any excuses or anything. He said no excuses. Hats off to Justin. It was just his night and things like that. The UFC also released the raw audio footage of like what was going on in that corner at the time. And that was pretty cool to see because Ilia's brother's in his corner and he was like, it was cool to see his brother step in and sort of be like, nah, like we've got to call this. You're wrecked basically. So, it is pretty insane. It still blows my mind that Justin got that done. But speaking about Justin, there has been a lot of chatter since that win of like where Justin now sits in the rankings of like, I don't want to say the greatest UFC fighter ever because I don't know. It's that after UFC White House, let's just say that I am a lot more adamant now that Jon Jones is the greatest of all time, okay? Because on the White House card, the big thing that people were talking about, and I even got involved in it, I threw it around a couple of times, it was like, oh, we've got two of the potential future GOATs on this card, in Ilia Topuria and in Alex Pereira. Now, both of them lost at the White House, which is insane. And it does put a little bit of a dampener on their careers. Even though I just said, like, you can lose in the UFC. But when you're talking about the GOAT conversation, I feel like you have to have, like, such an impressive resume. And now it just sort of leaves Jon Jones up there on his own. I know there's a lot of Jon Jones haters. There's probably more Jon Jones haters than there is Conor McGregor haters. It's hard to be a Conor McGregor fan, okay? And we're going to get to it when we get to that fight. But Justin's name's now being thrown around as like potentially one of the best fighters ever because he is the only fighter to ever hold an interim championship, a BMF championship, a world title, like in its outright. And what was the third one he got? Oh, the UFC White House belt, which will obviously never be done again. So he's the only fighter of all time to hold all four belts, which is insane in its own right. And if you were to read that on paper, like if I wasn't a UFC fan, someone just slipped a piece of paper in front of me and said, this is this guy's career and he's the only guy to ever hold these four belts, I'm like, he must be the GOAT. He must be the one, you know what I mean? But I don't know. I love Justin. I said that in the last breakdown, but I don't know. There's just something about him where, like, all the fighters say it as well. He's your favorite fight. What's the fucking saying? He's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's up there with the GOAT conversation, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? And before we leave the White House card, the ratings and shit like that came out. And I think it came out to be like, Rogan threw some crazy number out there, like 150 million views or something, which sounded fishy, okay? When he first said that, I'm like, I don't think that's true. And then it eventually came out that it wasn't true because the MVP card that happened on Netflix a few months ago, I think that got 71 million views or something. No, or 17. Maybe I'm getting my sevens and ones mixed around. It'd help if I did some research for this podcast, hey? Anyway, it came out and I think there was 17 million US watchers alone. And then when the global numbers came out, it was much closer to the 100 million. So in that debate we were having a couple of months ago of, is this Netflix card going to be the most viewed card of all time? Now it turns out that apparently watching Ronda Rousey, now that she's retired and washed up, didn't hit as big numbers as holding a UFC event at the White House. So it's left a lot of people wondering, me, myself. I think the UFC needs to do something big, not even every year, every 2 years. Like what? It's been about 2 years since we did the Sphere. Then we did the White House. I think every couple of years, you just need to give us UFC fans just a big super event like that. I threw the Coliseum around on the podcast the other week. That would be absolutely wild. I don't see that ever happening. But in saying that, I never saw the White House card happening. So who knows where we go, but I would like to see a super event every couple of years. That'd be fucking sick. On the next things, I'm not even going to talk about that. I put this on here in case I had nothing else to talk about, but we're already like 8 minutes in. So I'll just briefly touch on it. I spoke about on the last breakdown, Arman Sarukian put that $1 million bet on Justin Gaethje, and it fucking came through. That is insane. I think he won like $5.4 million or something off that bet, which is insane. And like, look, he's come out on podcasts and stuff. He's like, oh, I definitely didn't bet it. It was one of my mates, which he has to say that because he's an active fighter. But he told Justin, I'll buy you whatever truck you want. And Justin said, I want a Ram. And Ram ended up sponsoring Justin before he could get the truck. And then Justin's like, yeah, it's kind of gay taking a truck off another man. So is it gay? I guess we'll never know. I guess those are the big questions that you come to this podcast for. And the last thing I'll touch on, the Dustin Poirier situation that we spoke about a couple of weeks ago, the whole airport incident, him getting arrested, things like that. He went on the Diary of a CEO podcast. I don't listen to that one. I do see the clips pop up every now and then with Stephen Bartlett, I think his name is. And yeah, I haven't watched the full interview yet, but I think I've seen enough clips and shit on TikTok to get the general gist of the whole thing. And it just makes you feel for it. It's like, it's what we all knew. Dustin is like, he's not really dealing with not being a fighter anymore. That was his whole personality. That was his whole life. And then he spoke about some shit in his personal life, like his dad's homeless. His dad's an alcoholic. He's literally tried to get his dad off the streets. He won't take any help and things like that. And apparently he just had a few too many drinks on Father's Day, got on the plane, and it all went downhill from there. We saw the results. So, yeah, hopefully he's doing what he needs to do. He said he's like doing the whole counselling route and things like that. But yeah, it just makes you stop and think that these guys literally get in this cage week after week and just put their bodies on the line for our entertainment, really. And then once they're done, once they put those gloves down in the octagon, they've still got like another whole half of life to live when they've only focused on this shit. So shout out to Dustin. I hope we see him again in the future in some sort of role with the UFC. I'm hoping they're doing something in the background to help him out. But I reckon we get into this breakdown, guys, because I am so fucking keen for this card. And I am also excited. I did like the UFC White House card, how it was just one big card. But part of me did miss the early prelims and the prelims. I say this all the time, that a lot of people just tune in for the main events. But I am the kind of UFC deviant that just sits on the couch at like 8:30 in the morning and just watches that first fight, because that is how I find like my future favorite fighters. Like one of the big guys that I'm talking about at the moment, Atiba Gauthier, watched his first fight in the UFC on the early prelims, and now he's up there on main cards and shit like that. And it just feels good to jump on at that ground level and watch a fighter's full career. So much like Conor, which again, we will fucking get to, guys. Let's kick it off in the early prelims. Before we do, let's take another sip of this delicious kamikaze. Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. Wonder if the fighters are having a hit of kamikaze before their fights this week. Anyway, we kick it off in the early prelims in the flyweight division. We've got Cody Durden versus Andre Costa. Now, I will say off the bat, I think I am going to nail 90% of the names on this one. We don't have many like Russians or Dagestanis or anything on this one. So the surnames are a little easier for this dipshit's in this couch right now. So this is literally a flip of a coin fight in terms of odds. I will say I've seen a lot more of Durden than Costa. And Durden is just your original UFC workhorse. He takes last-minute fights. He basically just begs Dana. He's like, get me in there whenever, wherever. And he's on a bit of a skid. He is 2-6 in his last 8 fights. So 2 wins, 6 losses. It doesn't look great. He is the more experienced fighter. He's a better wrestler. But this Costa kid, he looks very dangerous in the first couple of fights that I have seen little highlights of. So he has 13 finishes on his record, and he also trains with the beast Diego Lopez. So I think I got to go with Costa on that one. He is the slight underdog, but I'm not even going to claim that underdog. There's like 5 cents in it. So let's go Costa in the first fight. Then we go to the middleweight division. Fuck, I fucked myself off the bat, didn't I? I said I was going to nail these names. Now I fucking can't remember how to pronounce this one. So middleweight division, we got Ryan Gandra versus Zach Reese. So this one is going to be an absolute banger. I am keen for this one. If you are going to tune into an early prelim fight, maybe this is the one. So Gandra is 8-1. And he's just so explosive. He can finish it on the feet. He can finish it on the floor. He just seems to be like that full, well-rounded fighter. And yeah, I'm going to go Gandra in this one. What are the odds on Gandra? Holy fuck. Okay. That's piqued my interest. I've just picked another dog. He's paying a juicy $3 to win. Might look into that a little bit more, guys. Might look into that a little bit more. Then we go to the bantamweight division. We have Farid Basharat versus John Garza. So Basharat is undefeated. according to this, and he is a heavy favorite in this one. So, Basrat, he's a wrestler, and his opponent is actually a late replacement, which probably explains the odds a lot better. Doesn't really seem to have too many finishes on his record, so let's just go Basrat by decision. Then we go to the middleweight division. We have Damien. This surname is going to sound sus, but trust me, I am sounding it out loud, and I really don't want to fuck up this guy's name because I like this fighter a lot. So Damien Panas. I know how that sounds, okay? I know how that fucking sounds. So he's 10-1. He is versing Cesar Almeida. So both these guys have got impressive records. But Almeida, he's the kickboxer of the two. Now, the thing that I do like about him, he fought Alex Pereira 3 times back in the day in kickboxing fights, which sort of makes you wonder. Well, it makes you realize that he's like, pedigree must be pretty decent if he was fighting Alex Pereira back in the day. But Panas, he seems like a beast. I mentioned Atiba Gauthier before. Francis Ngannou, this guy reminds me of both of them. He just seems to be a beast in all his fights. Like I said, he is 8-1. That one loss is by disqualification. So realistically, it's the whole John Jones debate. Is John Jones disqualification his one loss? It's murky waters, you know what I mean? Nobody technically beat him. It was just a thing in the rules. So Panas is actually the underdog again. And you guys know that I love an underdog. He might be my pick of the early prelims. Let's go Panas. I like him a lot. Nobody clipped that I said I like Panas a lot. Then we go to the prelims. In the women's flyweight division, we've got Tracy Cortez versus Kong Wang. What is with all these sus surnames? Jesus Christ. Cortez is only 23 years old. I feel like she's been in the UFC for like 30 years. She just always seems to be popping up here and there, whether it's in the cage or whether it's fucking dating one of the other UFC fighters. She is versing Kong Wang, who has a win over Valentina Shevchenko. So I was leaning towards Tracy Cortez until I saw that little statistic pop up on a reel the other day. So I think I'm going to go the dog again in that one. I'm going to go Wang. She's paying just over $2 for a win, which pretty decent. Her record's 8-1 as well. So let me click on the UFC website right now. Make sure I'm not 9-1. Jeez. All right. Let's get a bit of Kong Wang for our to kick off the prelims as an underdog. Then we go to the featherweight division. We have Cal Kamaka versus Luke Riley. Now, I'm keen as fuck for this fight as well. This one is going to be an absolute banger. Now, Riley is the new prospect out of the UK, okay? He trains with Paddy, and he just seems to have a lot of hype coming into the UFC. So, Kamaka, he's got a lot more UFC experience than Riley, but I'm going to pick Riley in this one. I've just been watching a lot on him lately, and he jumps out to me. He's 11-0, so I think this could be the UFC's next little superstar in the featherweight division, and by God, do they need it. Then we go to the bantamweight division. One of my old favourites. I hate saying old favourites, but he's just let me down time and time again. Cody Garbrandt is versing Adrian Yanez. Now, Garbrandt is obviously the underdog in this. He was another one that I watched from the early prelims to when he first won the title against TJ Dillashaw. And it was a storybook career, okay? Everyone wrote him off and he got there. And I can't pick him. Like I said, he's let me down time and time again. As much as I loved him, I got to go Giannis in this one. And I'm going to go Giannis by knockout, as much as it's going to hurt me to see Cody get knocked out again, but I think he's going to do it. I think the UFC has set Giannis up in this one to hopefully boost his star power. So then we go to the first. Okay, from here on, guys, this is glue yourself to your couch and do not move for the entire day, because now we move to the heavyweight division. We have Gable Stevenson making his UFC debut up against Elisha Ellison. Not sure on the pronunciation on that one. So, like I said, Stevenson is finally making his UFC debut. It feels like I've heard about this guy for years, and he has never even stepped in the UFC yet. So, just to give you a bit of background on Gable Stevenson, he's an Olympic gold medalist. He's an All-American wrestler. He's one of the most anticipated UFC debuts that I can remember in the longest time. But the big question is, he's racked up 3 wins in the regional circuit. Can he now make a splash in the UFC? Every breakdown, I feel like I'd say the UFC heavyweight division is just a shell of itself from like when I first started watching UFC, and we're just waiting for someone to come and just blow that division out of the water. I would love to see like in a year, no, probably longer than a year, maybe a year and a half to 2 years. I would love to see a Gable Stevenson versus Josh Hokett. How did I blank on his name just then? But the other big factor in Gable Stevenson's corner is he trains with John Jones. So he's got the GOAT teaching him UFC. He's an Olympic gold medal wrestler. Huge expectations behind this guy. And I feel like the UFC has just lobbed him a softball with his debut with Elisha Ellison, because he is 8-4, which, don't get me wrong, better record than I've got in the cage. But when you look at Gable Stevenson, the things that he's accomplished and the hype behind him, you wonder is it the whole Bo Nickel thing that the UFC sort of gave him a padded run? They got this little superstar in there, and they seem to just be padding his record until he gets up, and the fans don't really get behind him. So I'm hoping that Gable Stevenson doesn't have that same sort of like reflection as him, but I guess we will wait and see on Sunday how that all plays out. Then we go on to the big one, guys, the light heavyweight division to cap off the prelims. In my head, this should have been on the main card, but I know the UFC likes to drop a big fight down as the last fight on the prelims just to wet your whistle for that main card and get a few last-minute purchases in. So, light heavyweight division, we have Robert Whittaker, the Aussie, making his light heavyweight debut up against Nikita Krylov. So, Krylov is obviously a vet of the light heavyweight division. He's another one that I feel like I've been watching for years and years, and like every time his name pops up, I'm like, oh, fuck, he's still around sort of thing. But Bobby Knuckles, the Aussie, we all fucking love him. He's an absolute beast, former middleweight champ, just a massive career move here, just moving up a division. He said it's because of the whole weight cutting thing. He doesn't have to cut as much weight here, and it just opens up plenty more fresh matchups for him if he does get the win. So he is the favorite slightly, but the thing that scares me, obviously I'm ride or die Bobby Knuckles, okay? I'm never going to tip against him. But the little statistic that I saw pop up the other day, Nikita Krylov has only ever had 4 fights go to the judges. Every other fight has finished via KO or submission, his way or his opponent's way. So he is, what is his record? He is 31 wins and 11 losses. God, it'll break my heart if Bobby Knuckles loses this one. But I'm going Robert Whittaker by decision. I think if he does win, it'll be by decision. But Nikita Krylov is super dangerous. Now let's kick off the main card, guys. These are all banger after banger, except for one. I'll let you guys know when I get to that one. Lightweight division, we have King Green, formerly known as Bobby Green. He's the only real person that I've seen change their name to something outrageous where it hasn't really pissed me off too much, okay? So we've got King Green up against Terrence McKinney. Terrence McKinney is an absolute beast. He doesn't have a boring fight. All his fights, except for one, have gone under 1.5 rounds. I saw that, and I jumped on our friends over at Knucklebet to see how much this fight would be paying for to go under 1.5 rounds, and everyone's already onto this, guys. It was paying fuck all. So it's not even worth entertaining. But one thing that is guaranteed in this fight is it's going to be an absolute banger. Somebody is getting put to sleep for sure. So McKinney is is the favorite. And I like Bobby Green in this for some reason. Every time I write, King Green. Every time I write him off, he just, he goes and makes me look like an idiot. So deep down, I do believe Terrence McKinney's going to win this, but I can't doubt King Green anymore. I'm going to go King Green by knockout. Then we go to Brandon Royval versus Lonier Kavanagh. So this is probably, I don't know, this is probably the fight. This will be my toilet break, I think. And nothing against either of these fighters. Back in the day, I loved Brandon Royval, but that flyweight division at the moment is just doing nothing for me. Yes, it's crazy. Yes, it's chaotic. Yes, there is just a copious amount of strikes and shit going on. But I don't know. Kavanagh seems to be a prospect that the UFC is trying to boost again. He's 10-1, which is fucking impressive. I think he's going to get this one. I'm going to go Kavanagh. He's the underdog again. Picking a lot of dogs on this card, which is probably not going to go well for me. But I can't pick against who I like. You know what I mean? Then we go to the bantamweight division. We got Corey Sandhagen, fan favorite, up against Mario Batista. So Sandhagen is the favorite in this one. Just high level striking battle this one's going to be. And Mario Batista has been copping a lot of flack in his last few fights. Some because of him, some because of refereeing and judges. So you can't put all the hate on him. But I think Corey Sandhagen will get this one done. Probably, I think this one will go to decision. I think it's going to be an absolute banger, but neither one of them are going to knock each other out. But we will see. I've been wrong many times before. Then we go up to the co-main event. Now, this one is going to be absolute fireworks. This one, if the main event doesn't deliver, this will be fight of the night, 100%. We have Benoît Saint Denis versus Paddy Pimblett. So, Paddy's planning to just come out here and yet again, like he does in every single fight, everyone writes him off. I've done it time after time. He is just looking to come out and silence all the critics, silence the haters, and go, no, I deserve to hang with these big dogs. So he's come out and openly said he's going to finish Benoît Saint Denis within 2 rounds. It's a big ask, but we have seen Paddy finish a lot of experienced fighters in there before. So it could happen. So it's going to be an absolute war. There's going to be a lot of grappling, but at the same time, they both love to bang on the feet. So I don't know. I really don't know with this one. It is a flip of a coin for me. Paddy is the slight underdog. I think I'm going to go Paddy in this one. Paddy for the upset. Lock him in. Then we get to it, guys. What we're all here for, the main event, the welterweight division, the Mac is back. Conor McGregor versus Max Blessed Holloway. And my God, I said this for the main event of the last one. Actually, I said it for the whole card of the last one. I don't know if I've ever been excited for this. Now, I genuinely was starting to come to the acceptance that we would never see Conor in the cage again. And to be in the week of fight week, Conor's in Vegas. He showed up. He seems fit. He seems good to go. There is no chance of Conor pulling out now. And a big thing, all the Conor haters, they always go, oh, Conor's not going to rock up. He's not going to fight. He's not going to do this. And in factually looking at it, Conor's only ever pulled out of one fight. Everything else that hasn't eventuated has just been his crazy smack talk of, I want to fight Mike Tyson. I want to fight fucking whoever. There was one stage where he was going to fight Ronda Rousey. What the fuck? This guy just says the most outrageous shit, but he goes in the octagon and he backs it up. Now, in saying all of that, there has been footage of him come out. He does look good. He does look fit. He looks focused. And it just makes me want to hope that he is switched on. Now, he has peeled back a little bit on the whole media thing. The embedded episodes have come out. The first 2 have dropped at the time of recording this. And he is not featured on it, which makes me think, is he super focused? He doesn't want to deal with the whole media thing. He doesn't want camera crews in his face at all times. Is it that lane, or does he not want to expose an injury that he still has in his leg, or something's not quite right? I don't know. We're not going to know until Sunday. But he has come out and he said the 5-year layoff has done wonders for his body and given it so much time to heal. So that's the biggest red flag for me in this fight is Conor's leg. Is it 100% healed? I understand he's had 5 years. He's still been training all 5 years. And yes, he's got sparring partners that are going to be kicking his leg nonstop. But there's a huge difference between a sparring partner kicking your leg. Even if he says, kick me as hard as you can, there's still just that little thing in sparring where they hold back that little bit. Whereas Max Holloway is not going to be holding out. He's going to be throwing leg kicks at full force. He's going to, everyone's aware of it. Clearly, Max is going to be aware of it. So he's going to be, I feel like he's going to be focusing on that leg. And I just hope that all those peptides, all that fucking dark magic and shit that Conor McGregor's done over the last 5 years has just healed that to 100%. And we've seen it twice before. There's only been 3 fighters to ever suffer that same leg injury of your shin snapping in half. Chris Weidman and Anderson Silva. And when they both came back, they were not the same fighters they were before that injury. Yes, they still racked up some wins and things like that, but they did not look as good as they did before that injury. And it'll literally break my heart if we see Conor in there on Sunday as a shell of himself. Okay. I don't want to see it. I want to see him back there in full force, talking shit. And that's the other big thing. This is where I'm at. Okay. The leg thing is a big question mark, but what makes me feel good is the footage we've seen him. He looks good. The other thing, the Dustin Poirier arrest video. Now, we didn't see old school Conor would have been straight on Twitter blowing this up, DMing Dustin Poirier going, oh, you fucked up. Obviously, they got a heated rivalry. He's one of the big ones that Conor would go after. But we haven't seen anything. Conor hasn't said fuck all about it, which makes me think that he's dialed in and just focusing on this fight. It's the only thing I can hope for. I said the whole thing about avoiding media and things like that. It just makes me want to hope that he's dialed in. Now, on the back of all that, yes, I just sucked Conor's dick for a good 5 minutes, and it's because he is like, every generation has that sporting hero in their life, like Michael Jordan, Mike Tyson, I don't know, if you're into soccer, Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, all those people. Conor McGregor was the first sporting star that I genuinely just latched to like Velcro, and I was like, holy fuck, this is the most incredible thing I've ever seen. I'm not going to come on here and be like, I was there from the start. I did miss his first fight. But once we saw that first fight and the hype started to build behind him, I saw every fight after that. And it's just the craziest thing that I've ever witnessed in my life. Just this young, cocky Irish dude quits his plumbing apprenticeship, drives home and just goes, I'm going to be UFC champion, and makes it happen. I'm going to be UFC double champion. No, you can't do that. Makes it happen. He just fucking defies the odds time after time. So on the back of that, Max Holloway, he is also one of my favorite fighters of all time. And I'm legitimately going to hate either one of these guys losing. But unfortunately, I got to go Conor on this one. So this is the second time they've fought. I haven't even mentioned that. They fought 13 years ago. So Conor got the win in that one. But obviously, they're both completely different fighters to what they were back then. And it scares me as to how active Max Holloway is. In reality, Max should win this, but I can't write Conor off. I can't tip against Conor. I've got to pick Conor. It's the age old. If it finishes under 2.5 rounds, Conor's got it. If it goes over that, we don't know what Conor's cardio is like after 5 years of a layoff. And we've seen Max Holloway in multiple 5-round wars over the last few years. So we just don't know what version of Conor is going to show up until he gets into that cage. Now, the last little bit of hope that I'm holding on to is the press conference happening Friday, I think it is. If we get old school smack talking Conor McGregor, just giving shit to everyone in the crowd, hanging shit on Max Holloway, just being his typical arrogant self, I'm going to feel so much better about Sunday. I'm going to go, Conor has got this shit in the bag. If he comes out and he plays like polite Conor, like we've seen a couple times, I don't know. It makes me nervous, but I genuinely hope Conor rolls the clock back and we see vintage Conor. and just see how this all plays out. Conor has to get this win. Like it's undeniable. If he does not get this win, it has to be it. He's come out and said, even if I lose, I'm fighting the last fight on my contract. But it's like, does he lose a lot of that shine that he currently has? Even after his last few losses and things like that, everyone wants to see him fight. But I guess we'll wait and see, guys. But in case it wasn't obvious, Conor's my pick on that one. Let me take a sip before we wrap this bad boy up with our Can't Bet Anywhere's multi. Oh, all right. That feels way better. All right. That's brought us to the end of our UFC 329 breakdown. And that just leaves us with one thing left to do, guys. And that is our Can't Bet Any Worse multi, brought to you by our friends at Knucklebet and voted by you guys on Instagram through polls. You guys are breaking my heart on this one after that spiel I just gave on my favorite fighter of all time, Conor McGregor. With 78% of the votes, you guys have gone Max Holloway. Then with 62% of the votes, we've got Bobby Knuckles. And with 73% of the votes, we've got Paddy Pimblett, giving us a combined multi of $5.45 at the time of recording this. So jump over to Knucklebet. You'll find a market on all that. And let's ride this multi out together, guys. Other than that, that's brought us to the end of our UFC 329 breakdown. I've got to go pick the kids up. I haven't written my gigs and shit in there, so I've got nothing to plug. But if you do want to get in touch with the show, send submissions via DM on Instagram at CantGetAnyWorsePodcast, or shoot me an email, at CantGetAnyWorsePod@gmail.com. I appreciate you all. I hope you're all enjoying the fights as much as I do on Sunday, and I will see you later.
Can't get any worse, will make you see. It's all